Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome to another session of our Devon and Beyond webinar series. If you missed any of the previous sessions, you can find the recordings on the same Devon and Beyond page from where you registered for this webinar. And while you're there, please take a moment to review the other series and webinars that we have added there for you. Today's session is OCI Database QuickStart, where you'll learn about the database services and tools available in Oracle Cloud. I'm Renu Bhatt, Program Lead with the Customer Enablement team, and today I'm joined by Olivia Ferda and Winnie Wang as the main presenters. And with that, I'll hand it over to our presenters. Winnie, please take it forward.
Thanks, Renu. Hi, everyone. My name is Winnie, and I'll be taking us through the first half of the Oracle Cloud Database Services Quick Start. So in addition to Day 1 and Beyond, we also have some other series that are part of this program. We have Core, Hands-On, Cloud Native Launchpad, Cloud Security, and our kind of preview to OCI, Did You Know What's New in OCI series as well. So feel free to check out any of these for some more information. And then on today's agenda, this is what we'll cover. So we'll go over some different Oracle database services. So we'll go over base database, Exadata database, and autonomous database. And then we'll also dive into maximum availability architecture tools. So we have Oracle Active Data Guard as well as Golden Gate. And lastly, we will talk about MySQL Heatwave for a little bit before we dive into the demo of the autonomous database service. Okay, so by the end of this presentation, this is kind of what we expect you to be able to do. Basically describe each of the database options and also know the difference between Active and Oracle Data Guard, and also understand how to set up disaster recovery situations and your database backup options. So we can go ahead and head over to database first. All right, so this slide might look familiar if you've attended any of our other core series, but this is just a breakdown of the Oracle Cloud ecosystem. We have the deployment options at the bottom, and then the cloud services in the middle. So today we're focusing specifically on Oracle databases, and then on top of that, you have your different applications that you can host. All right, so we'll quickly go over a summary of the different database options in Oracle Cloud. So we're going from left to right, and as we go from left to right, you'll see that more of the manageability and automation will be put on OCI rather than you as the customer. So starting from the left, we have Oracle Database on Compute. So this will just be a standard database virtualized on the cloud. So you will have transparent data encryption or TDE, and you can take advantage of virtual machine or bare metal offerings, and you can also choose to set up Data Guard manually. OCI offers single node database systems on either bare metal or virtual machines, and 2-node rack database systems on virtual machines. You can manage your database systems by using either the console, APIs, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure CLI, the Database CLI, Enterprise Manager, or SQL Developer. And then to the right, we have Oracle Base Database Service. So this one is integrated with the cloud service. It works with OCI REST API library, and it can have RAC, which is a 2-node database system. And you can once again provision Data Guard manually. So all of these databases will be encrypted by default. It is co-managed and runs on a virtual machine, so the compute resources will be shared. And then next up, we have Exadata Database Service. So these will be highly performant databases that are going to be significantly more managed. So you'll have Oracle Machine Learning and memory level. Hardware will be optimized and managed for you to just make sure that your resources are being spent properly, whether it's I/O versus read/write operations, and etc. You have options for rack and also have autonomous data guard, which unlike database on compute and base database, it is going to be single click. So what that means is you'll be able to have a compatible database created with the shape as you specify it, and then the autonomous data guard will create the connection between the two. You'll also have the entire set of APIs for management and the different metrics that go along with Exadata. And lastly, we have autonomous database. So as you can see here, there will be automatic scaling, tuning, and patching. So for scaling and tuning, those are going to be managed services. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because when you see a large list of features under a fully managed database, it's not just saying that, you won't have these on base database service. It's just that it's going to be out of the box in a fully managed database. And then auto scaling is something that can be enabled on base database service as well, but it just won't be managed for you. So you have different flavors of autonomous database, such as data warehousing, transaction processing, and JSON, and we'll go over the different flavors in the ADB section. All right, so first off, we are starting with Oracle-based database service. Okay, so we are focusing on this service, which provides you the ability to deploy full-featured Oracle databases in the cloud. So this service is available in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure regions all around the world, and it runs on either Enterprise Edition or Standard Edition workloads on flexible virtual machine shapes in Oracle's public cloud. The service also provides automated database lifecycle management, and as a result, that will reduce administration and also compute scaling with pay-as-you-go pricing that ultimately lowers costs for you. You also have multi-level security, which helps protect the databases with features like always-on database encryption and the ability to use Oracle Data Safe as well. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the available database compute core licensing models. So you have two options to choose from when you run Oracle database in the cloud. Depending on what your business needs and costs are, you can choose accordingly. So the first one is called License Included. This includes all of the Oracle Database Enterprise Edition options, plus the Oracle Database Enterprise Manager packs. So this subscription model is best for customers without sufficient existing Oracle database licenses who want to build new applications, or for customers who want to use Oracle database features beyond what they're actually currently licensed to use. So you're able to experience innovative Oracle database features and elastic OCPU metering that might have been previously too expensive to achieve with on-premises licensing models. And then the second option is bring your own license, or BYOL. So this model is designed to minimize costs when migrating existing workloads to the cloud. So in the BYOL model, customers can deploy their existing database and database option licenses to their Oracle Cloud Database Service. So when a customer brings an Oracle Database Enterprise Edition license to the Oracle Cloud, with this model, they are granted the rights to use transparent data encryption, diagnostics pack, tuning pack, data masking, and subsetting pack, and also real application testing without needing to bring those licenses to the cloud. BYOL customers can also save on existing Oracle database software support costs by leveraging the Oracle Support Rewards program. And this will actually provide them with 25% credit of their cloud spend that can be applied towards their on-premises support bill. And then you also have automated database lifecycle operations that you can control. So these are just a couple of operations under those lifecycle operations. So here your IT teams, they can avoid configuration and maintenance errors with automated database lifecycle management capabilities that can reduce database admin workloads and speed deployments. Okay, so moving on to Exadata. So before we talk about Exadata Cloud, I want to talk about Oracle Exadata Database Machine. So this machine is engineered to deliver dramatically better performance cost effectiveness and availability for Oracle databases. So as a result, it's one of the most powerful database options out there. You get to experience modern cloud-enabled architecture with scale-out high-performance database servers, storage cache using Exadata RDMA memory, and cloud-scale RDMA over converged Ethernet internal fabric that is able to connect all servers and storage. All right, so one of the most important features of Exadata is the flexibility that it gives you in terms of where to deploy. So as you can see here, we have a couple of options, so I'll go through each one. So one, you can run it on premises. This is with a traditional CapEx deployment model where you own and manage the complete system and have total flexibility as to how you'll manage it. But you can also run Exadata in Oracle Public Cloud. This is where Oracle manages the infrastructure, and you have the automation to simplify your management tasks and can also leverage a pay-for-use subscription model that will dramatically reduce your costs. And if you do want to run your databases in the cloud, it doesn't mean you have to put your data outside of your data center. So with the Exadata Cloud at Customer offering, you can benefit from a cloud deployment, but still keep all of your data safely inside your own data center. And then Exadata is also available with multi-cloud, where databases run on Exadata in Oracle Cloud, and then your applications run in other clouds. So going into the architecture of the Exadata database machine, so the machine uses a scale-out architecture for both database and storage servers. So as your workloads grow, database, storage, and networking resources can be added to an Exadata database machine to scale without bottlenecks. So the architecture scales from small to extremely large configurations to accommodate your workloads of any size. All database and storage servers are interconnected with each other, and they are communicating over an intelligent, high-speed, low-latency network fabric. Within this architecture, you also have remote direct memory access, or RDMA, and this is an important component of Exadata. It's enhanced in every generation of hardware, Oracle database, and Exadata system software release. But this RDMA basically enables one server to interact with memory structures on another server without interacting with the OS and network stack on either machine. All right, and then we'll go over some features of the Exadata storage server software. So one of them is the Smart Scan technology. So this offloads data-intensive SQL operations from the database servers directly into the storage servers. And they do this by pushing SQL processing to the storage servers. Data filtering and processing occur immediately and also in parallel across all storage servers. So only the rows and columns that are going to be directly relevant to a query are sent to the database servers. So as a result, this will speed up analytic queries, eliminate bottlenecks, and also significantly reduce the CPU usage of the database servers. We also have Exadata Smart Flash Cache, and this determines the data that is going to be most useful to cache based on data usage, access patterns, and hints from the database that will indicate the type of data being accessed. It also avoids caching data that will never be reused or will not fit into the cache. And you also have Exadata storage indexes, and these are a powerful feature of the software that enables storage servers to avoid I/O operations by replacing them with a few in-memory lookups instead. And then if you're running the Oracle database in-memory option, Exadata will automatically store data in columnar format in the flash cache if it deems that, it will improve performance. And then next we'll talk about Exadata Cloud. So this slide is just a quick summary of some of the enterprise capabilities that you get with Exadata Cloud. So on the left, there are some key features available on all Oracle databases. So things like multi-tenant, Oracle RAC, and Active Data Guard. And then on the right, all those are Exadata innovations available with the Exadata platform. So we have some recent additions like persistent memory, 100 Gbps RDMA over converged Ethernet. But basically, Exadata includes all of these key capabilities and innovations in a single cloud platform for you. All right, so going into Exadata Cloud Infrastructure now, it is the public cloud platform for Oracle databases, and it integrates Oracle database with Exadata. So you're able to experience some extreme performances that you previously experienced on premises with Exadata. And full Oracle database compatibility simplifies and reduces the risk of your critical cloud migrations. So you get the combination of cloud economics, powerful automation, and infrastructure maintained by Oracle experts, all while lowering IT costs and eliminating most operational tasks. So this allows your employees to focus on core business functions instead. All right, so in the case that, we have customers that can't move to public cloud for any various reason, it could be because of regulation, latency, integration, or risk. If any of these issues come up for your company, one option could be to look at Exadata Cloud at Customer, specifically Autonomous Cloud at Customer. So Autonomous Cloud at Customer is put on top of Exadata Cloud at Customer. It's the autonomous database on Gen 2 Exadata Cloud at Customer. So it looks exactly the same as autonomous database running in the cloud. So you have the same simplicity, agility, performance, and elasticity that you get with autonomous database. And all the REST APIs, all the machine learning, all the dashboards, everything is going to be there. And you can also easily migrate your existing on-premises database to this. And also existing applications in your data center can reconnect and run on this database, and the data never leaves your data center. So there are two database services that are supported with Exadata Cloud. We talked about one of those in the previous slide. So you have Autonomous Database, Exadata Database Service, or you can actually have both on the same Exadata Cloud infrastructure as your options. And both of these services can be deployed in Oracle Public Cloud or in customer data centers. We also have Autonomous Database Serverless, but that is only available in OCI. So I'll go through the primary difference between the two. It's going to be the management model. So Autonomous Database is fully managed with complete automation. Both the database and infrastructure are managed by Oracle, which eliminates admins to provide the best total cost of ownership. And then with the Exadata database service, that is co-managed, where customers manage the databases and Oracle manages the infrastructure. So customers have root access to customized database environments and benefit from customer-controlled automation to reduce administration. With Autonomous Database, customers pay only for the compute resources used, and auto-scaling can be used for variable workloads to just automatically scale the compute resources up and down as needed. And with Exadata Database Service, customers pay for the compute resources they allocate, and it can also scale those allocated resources as needed. It's really ideal for migrating any supported on-premise Oracle Database Enterprise Edition version to Exadata Cloud with no changes. Okay, so lastly, we'll talk about Autonomous Database. So Oracle Autonomous Database, or ADB, is designed to be self-driving, self-securing, and self-repairing. So in a moment, I'll describe what that means in terms of functionality, but all autonomous databases support converged database applications as well. And so as a result, autonomous databases are going to be easier to manage. There are automated versions of the mainstay Oracle database. All right, so I mentioned that we have different workload types supported by an autonomous database. So we'll go over the 4 different types here. So on the left, we have data warehouse, and this will be for columnar formatting, and it will be optimized for data warehouse, data marts, data science, or analytical applications. And you also have transaction processing as another workload type, and this is going to be row optimized, and it's best for transaction, mixed workloads, or data drive applications. You also have JSON, so this is optimized for JSON documents and JSON-centric applications development. And lastly, you have Oracle Apex application development, which is going to be integrated with Apex, and it's meant to help you develop and deploy low-code applications on a fully managed and secure environment. So all of these different workload types supported by ADB will come with Oracle Graph and Oracle Machine Learning capabilities. With ADB, using mission-critical database technology will not be overly complicated or expensive. So developers here, they can leverage a self-service, easy-to-use database for any type of data type or workload with all the benefits of cloud-native development. So operation is now the simplest in the market thanks to advanced scaling, availability, tuning, and security, and it's all backed by machine learning. And when it comes to cost, you can use the pay-per-use consumption model, which can drastically reduce costs to only what you need. All right. So ADB has two fundamental deployment options. We have serverless and dedicated. So serverless allows the customer to only choose the database compute, storage, and region, and then the rest, it allows the system to take care of the other database operations. With dedicated, this provides isolation and also greater control over database operations, since you'll need custom policies for isolation and versioning/maintenance lifecycle. And then you also have dedicated can be available on Exadata Cloud at Customer, where you can provision multiple types of virtual machines on a single machine. Lastly, you can leverage Oracle Apex, allowing development teams and power users to quickly create, modify, and deploy robust, scalable business applications in a low-code environment. So you have built-in security capabilities that allow enterprises to instantly deploy applications for secure access from any device without sacrificing long-term data productivity. All right, so now I'll hand it over to Olivia, who will take us through MAA.
Oh, thanks, Winnie. So yeah, in this second portion of today's presentation, I will be going over maximum availability architecture, or MAA. And as part of this, we'll mainly be focusing on data guards, so disaster recovery, and Golden Gate, so how you can replicate and integrate your data. And then from there, I will also cover MySQL Heatwave, what that is. And then at the very end, I will hop into the console to show you the autonomous database, so how to get started with that. And so you'll kind of see there, you can choose your workload type, as well as if it runs on dedicated Exadata or serverless. And we'll also explore some of the key features of autonomous. But diving into MAA, so a key feature of Oracle Database Services and Oracle Cloud is best practices that are built in. And MAA includes best practices for critical components, including servers, storage, and network, and any operational best practices for the Oracle database's high availability capabilities deployed on it. And as part of this, you can see there's some key MAA technologies. And there's some around scale out and life cycle. So you have Oracle RAC to kind of give you a scalable, highly available database platform. So Oracle RAC protects from unplanned failures by spreading work across multiple database instances. In addition, it eliminates downtime for maintenance activities by automatically migrating work off the servers about to undergo maintenance to others that remain online. There's also active replication, so kind of what we'll be mainly taking a look at today with DataGuard and Golden Gate. So backups and replication with DataGuard can be easily set up for disaster recovery using the control plane. And also one of the services that Winnie covered earlier, the Exadata database service, supports all of the Oracle MMA technologies, which kind of give you that high availability blueprint for Oracle databases in the cloud. And then there's some tools also around data protection, so RMAN, flashback, and also continuous availability. All right, so diving in to more of the disaster recovery piece with DataGuard. So it's going to be a key database feature that's going to give you that real-time disaster protection. So should you lose your primary database or data center, you can fill your workload over to a standby site maintained automatically by DataGuard. So you can choose between synchronous or asynchronous transport of data to the disaster recovery or DR site, giving you that performance or zero data loss. DataGuard also provides continuous data corruption prevention, and active DataGuard enables you to utilize active database copies for upgrades and migrations, as well as offloading queries, reporting, and backups to remote standby. And setting up DataGuard is going to be a critical component of any MAA solution. And then once again, the Exadata database service is going to make it simple to enable with a single API call or click of the mouse in the UI using cloud automation. And likewise, that automation supports critical use cases like switching your primary database to your DR site, switching back, and reinstating your primary database after a failover. So that was disaster recovery with DataGuard. So now diving more into another key MAA technology or tool, which is Golden Gate. So enterprise data is typically distributed across the enterprise in heterogeneous databases. So in order to get data between different data sources, this is where you can use Golden Gate. And OCI Golden Gate is a fully managed native cloud service that moves data in real time at scale. So it processes data as it moves from one or more data management systems to target databases. And you can also design, run, orchestrate, and monitor data replication tasks without having to allocate or manage any compute environments. So really, Golden Gate is just Oracle's solution to replicate and integrate data. It's going to give you the means to effectively move data from one system to another in real time. And this is some of the different combinations of supported data platforms for Golden Gate. You can see that there's different application options right here, different database options like MySQL, all this, NoSQL and IoT, big data, NoSQL, all these options here. And this is just also another insight into some of the different options. So real-time sources and targets, real-time targets, and bulk data transform sources and targets. So you can kind of see more of the breakdown of the list here. And this is just some of the use cases for Golden Gate. So on-prem to cloud, multi-region, software as a service, or SaaS to OCI. So just having data replication for industry applications or ERP data transactions, multi-cloud. Another use case is initial load. So initial load is just the process of extracting data records from a source database and loading those records into a target database. And initial load is this data migration process that is performed only once. And Golden Gate would allow you to perform initial load data migrations without taking your systems offline. So you can use it for that use case. Another use case is around business continuity and high availability. So if you wanted to, let's say, synchronize bank transactions that have happened for an account in the database in one branch with maybe a centralized database. And also, let's say the volume of transactions is massive and even the slice delay can greatly impact the business. In that scenario, you can use Golden Gate. So the replication technology could be used to support both, Oracle and heterogeneous databases so that they can talk to each other. So you can use it for many different use cases. All right, so one last tool that I want to cover before we hop into the console to dive a little bit deeper into autonomous, I want to cover MySQL. So MySQL is an open source relational database management system. So it just makes it easy to create a high availability database system. And so when you're creating your MySQL database, you have two different options here. So you have standalone. This is a single instance MySQL database system. You also have high availability. So this is going to run a 3-node MySQL database system, giving you automatic failover and 0 data loss. And part of what factors into these two options right here is the environment. So if you're doing like dev or something, if you choose that option, then it's going to recommend that you go with standalone. But if you're doing prod, if you choose that option, it's going to recommend high availability. It'll give you different recommendations for the setup there. And of course, you can change it. So even if you're doing dev and you still want high availability, you can select that option, but just something to keep in mind when you're creating your MySQL database system. And this just kind of builds off of the high availability option mentioned in the previous slide. So the MySQL database service is going to take full advantage of OCI's multiple availability domain and fault domain architecture to give you that high availability. And these multi-AD regions provide multiple data centers located within a region. And these availability domains are isolated from each other and are fault tolerant. So once again, you get that automatic failover with an RTO or recovery time objective of minutes and 0 data loss. So you can see the 3 instances here. And then diving into MySQL Heatwave, which is something that you can set up. So this combines transactions, real-time analytics across data warehouse and data lake, and machine learning in one MySQL database. So you can run real-time analytics on data stored in MySQL, so you don't need a separate analytics database nor complex ETL processes. So with this, you would get faster insights and avoid any security risk of data movement between data stores, because once again, you don't need a separate database for all these different features. And then also with MySQL Heatwave, you also get in database machine learning, so you don't need to move data to separate machine learning service, and you can easily apply machine learning training, inference, and explanation to data in Heatwave, whether it's coming from the database or object store. So you can see some of the features here in database machine learning, analytics, OLTP, and autopilot. And then just kind of building off of the previous slide, so it's going to provide a single solution for running online transaction processing or OLTP and OLAP or online analytical processing workloads. So it enables you to run both OLTP and OLAP workloads in MySQL without the need to extract, download, and load data to separate database for analytic processing. And the changes made by MySQL transactions are replicated in real time to the Heatwave cluster and become immediately available for analytics queries, giving you that real-time analytics. And also, since data isn't transferred between databases, the risk that it could be compromised is eliminated. And then just a few things to remember before I hop into the console is there are different types of Oracle database options for you to choose from. So Winnie covered some of them like Exadata, Oracle-based database, autonomous. There's a lot of different services there. Also, you have Golden Gate for replicating and integrating your data. You also have Data Guard for disaster recovery that you can leverage. All right, so hopping into the console for an autonomous demo. So I have to log in again real quick, but I will show you all the different features, kind of how to get set up with that. And actually, before I dive into the demo, one thing that I do want to point out, because we did cover a lot of different database services today, and if you ever want to explore some of those or some of the features of those services, you can use Live Labs. So you don't need to be signed in or anything to access this page, and it'll give you a lot of different workshops, not just for the different database services or tools that we covered today, but also just in general. And you can filter the different workshops depending on role. So it could be developer, data engineer, data scientist, DevOps, low-code developer. And you can also view all the different available workshops that we do have. So I'm going to click on that. And yeah, you can see there's a lot of different labs, like just getting started with OCI. And also, this dives a little bit deeper into some of the features of autonomous. If you want to load and analyze your data, data science, all of this right here. And you can filter on the experience level that you're looking for. So beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And depending on the workshop that you run, it may vary. Some might just offer to run on your own tenancy. Some might offer to run on Live Labs, where you can run an Oracle-owned tenancy for free. So you can filter on that option. There's some sprints, and these are more question-based. And there's some workshop series. So there's autonomous focused, database security series that you can filter on. Once again, you can filter on role or focus area, and then you can get as granular as the product. So once again, you'll see a lot of autonomous database. And if you're looking for a specific tool, you can also just search up here, because I want to show you autonomous database labs, because there's a lot of different features as part of autonomous that you can explore. So once again, you can filter on experience level. So if you're looking for more beginner, intermediate, or advanced autonomous labs, you can further filter right here. And then if you want just labs that run on Live Labs, you can filter right here. And just to kind of show you what some of these different labs looks like, I'm going to click into this one. But actually, before I do that, you can see that there's a lot of different labs. So Data Studio. If you're interested in low-code application development or Apex on autonomous, you can explore this. There's labs around machine learning, Graph Studio. So if I click into one of these labs, for each of these different labs, they'll give you a video background, a time estimate, an outline of what it will cover, so you know what to expect, any prereqs you may need, more about this workshop. And if you click start, this will once again vary depending on the workshop that you launch. But in this case, it gives me the option to run on my own tenancy, or I can run on a Live Lab sandbox or an Oracle-owned tenancy for free. Even if you click on run on your own tenancy, you can still see the lab instructions, and it'll give you some background for the lab, and it breaks down each of these different steps. So maybe you're just interested in loading data from local files. So if I click into that, it'll give me some information here. So estimated time for this specific lab, a video for loading data into Oracle Autonomous, specific objectives, and then it's pretty good about giving you the information to either follow along or just see how something works. So yeah, I just want to cover Live Labs because you can explore the many different features of autonomous and some of the other different database services that we covered, and just in general in OCI. So I think it's a great tool to leverage if you kind of want to get more experience with some of the different services that we covered. All right, so hopping into the console, because we're going to be taking a look at the autonomous database service. So most of the database services that we covered today are going to fall under Oracle Database right here. So this is where you can see Oracle Database. You can also see the Oracle-based database service. There's Oracle Exadata database service on dedicated infrastructure, Exadata database service on cloud customer, a few other tools like DataSafe. Here we have Golden Gates. You can also see some related services. So once again, Apex application development. So more low-code application development, more data-driven applications, SQL worksheets, MySQL Heatwave. And then if you wanted some documentation, we list some here for autonomous databases, Oracle-based database service, Exadata, and all Oracle database documentation. And then right below that is where you can find MySQL Heatwave. So if you want to explore that a little bit more, this is kind of where you would get started. And then once again, you can see related services. And if you wanted some more documentation, we do list it here. But that's where you find most of what we covered today. But to get started with the autonomous database, I'm going to click into this. And I already have one created, but I just want to show you briefly how you go about creating an autonomous database. So I'm going to click into this right here. So as with anything in OCI, you need to specify in which compartment you're going to create this resource. You would give your database a display and database name. And then here's where it goes back to the slides that Winnie was showing earlier. This is where you choose your workload type. And so if you're doing data warehouse or transaction processing, kind of depending on your use case or how you're wanting to leverage autonomous, you can choose the deployment type here. So whether it runs on serverless architecture or whether it runs on dedicated Exadata infrastructure. If you do JSON or Apex, it's going to run on serverless, but this is essentially where you'd specify your workload type and your deployment type. Here's where you further set up your database. So you can see the compute and storage auto scaling options right here. So depending on the storage that you specify right here, it would allow the system to expand up to 3 times that reserved storage. And then similarly with compute auto scaling to expand up to 3 times the specified eCPU count. And you can kind of see what the max for that storage is. And then you might have some version options right here. And then under advanced options, you can enable elastic pool right here. So to require eCPU compute model and eCPU auto scaling must be disabled in this case. Another option too that I want to point out, if you want to get more of a feel for autonomous and some of its features, you can enable always free, but you'd be limited in terms of like auto scaling. And I don't think you can enable data guard for always free, but it's just kind of a good way of getting more of a feel for the features. And then if later on, if you want, you can always upgrade to paid, but you can maybe explore the always free option right here. Here's around backups or automatic backups. So the max retention for this right here is 60 days, but if you want it to be less than that, you could decrease the value right here. So that's more of automatic backups, and we'll talk a little bit more about backups in a moment. And then here's where you create your admin credentials. So to be able to access certain tools, like database actions and other features. This is where you'd set up the credentials. And by default, it has to be admin as a username. And then you'd set up your password and everything. And then you choose your network access. So the access type, so secure access from everywhere, secure access from allowed IPs and VCNs only, and then private endpoint access only. And this is just some licensing, so license included or bring your own license. And then lastly, you can provide contacts for operational notifications and announcements. So you can list some emails here. But mainly just want to point out workload type, deployment type, and always free, or where you kind of set up your auto scaling, all of that. And then you can go ahead and create your autonomous database. So I already have one right here. It's always free. You can also see the workload type, when it was created, all this information here. And yeah, so you can further see the information, the name, workload type, instance type. So I'm doing always free. You can always upgrade to paid, licensing version. This is where you'd see your Apex instance. So it doesn't matter which workload type you choose. You should see an Apex instance right here if you kind of want to explore that more low-code application development piece. Once again, I don't think you can enable data guard for always free, so just something to keep in mind. And you'll see your backup information right here. So mine was set to 60 days, but you can decrease that. You can also set up a long-term backup. So if you want to retain it between, I think, 3 months to 10 years, and you can also set up the schedule for that. So I think it's weekly, monthly, and annually. So you can set that up as well. And then you can see when the last automatic backup was, network information, maintenance, and when that next maintenance window is. And then this just goes back to the setup earlier. If you want some customer context to be added to that, you can go ahead and manage that. And then you can see some metrics down here. So around things like CPU utilization, storage utilization, sessions, running statements. You can see all that here. And you can filter on the start and end time, quick select, so like last 90 days or something. And you can also view the audit and logs. And then you can also see your backups right here. So these are all of our automatic backups. So you can see the backup timestamp, if it's active, the type, the retention period, and the expiration date for that, when that backup was started, all this information here. And then as mentioned earlier, you can also create a long-term backup as well. So a few other things I want to point out is some key actions right here. So if you need to stop, restart, restore, create clone, manage the admin password that you created, change licensing, manage encryption key, rename database, upgrade instance to paid if you're doing always free, add tags, or terminate. This is where you can find a lot of those different key actions. So that will all be listed here. And then you also have a database connection, so where you can download your client credentials or your wallet. So if you need to connect to, let's say, Oracle Analytics Cloud or OAC, or if you want to connect to SQL Developer, this is where you can download that information. And so you have two different wallet types that you can download. So Oracle is going to recommend that you use this more database specific wallet using this instance wallet right here. Another option that you have is a regional wallet, and that should be used more for admin purposes that require potential access to all autonomous databases within a region. So you have these two different options right here. And then here's where you access a lot of the different key features of autonomous, and there's some quick launches right here. So there's SQL Developer Web, managing your database users, data load, REST, and then you can click view all database actions. And yeah, you can see a lot of different development tools listed right here. So around SQL Developer, so we'll take a look at that. Data modeler, JSON, there's scheduling, Oracle Machine Learning or OML, and then also, once again, Apex right here, so you can launch that. So you can build like an app from a CSV file or something. You can also work with your data in SQL Workshop. So there's a lot of different options there with Apex. Data Studio, there's a lot of different tools here. It's like data insights, data transforms, data analysis. You can explore all that here. There's also more admin tools right here. So managing your database users, and then the different types of roles or access that you'll grant that user. Managing your Apex workspaces for your applications. Then once again, if you need to download your wallet or client credentials, you can go ahead and do that here. There's downloads, some more monitoring stuff, so you can kind of see some performance data right here. It's around like SQL monitoring or active session history or Ash Analytics. And then some related services. And then you can also pin some of these features as well, or recently visited should be listed here. But I think this layout's fairly new. I've already launched SQL Developer Web right here. And this is what it will look like when you launch it. And usually it will offer to take you through a tour. And you can also click the button right here and it'll kind of walk you through some of the different features here and kind of how that works. But really, it's just a web interface for working with your Oracle database. So you can run queries, you can create tables, generate schema diagrams, and more right here. And then you could have your queries here, you could run it, and then you can save this worksheet. And then if you have a recent worksheet, you can open it and work with it later on. So that's something that you could, leverage as part of Autonomous. And then another thing that I want to point out is more on the admin side, so managing your users. So if you go back to database actions and you go to administration right here, and you click database users, you'll be directed to this page right here. And you can go ahead and create a user so you can see username, password, if they have graph access for that user, so you can enable it, or web access. Or also for OML or Oracle Machine Learning. But here's where you'll find a lot of the different granted roles, or where you give that specific access. So I think there's documentation out there that kind of should give you some idea of what, access or role you need to grant to that user. But you can see there's a lot of different roles right here that you could grant your users. So this is where you'd go about doing that. But that's mainly what I want to show for Autonomous. But before I close, just wanted to go back to Live Labs right here. So the reason why I did bring this up earlier, once again, is that there's a lot of different features as part of Autonomous, and there's a lot of different database tools that we covered today. And if you want to maybe explore some of those a little bit more or get more hands-on experience, there's even a 15-minute quick start. There's machine learning. There's labs that focus on Data Studio or managing and monitoring your database. So you can kind of take a look at some of these labs here.
If you come here to the documentation page, which is right out under the Help Center, you can come in and you'll see cloud infrastructure. It'll come to here. You can go to the data management. This goes through a lot of the different questions we had. Now, one of the things we had was about, and I had terminated my example. We're trying to save some bucks. Anyway, the point being is that you can set the times that a autonomous database is up and down. So in general, on a daily basis. So that's one thing. You can also, noted that you were able to access the metrics. If you can access the metrics, you can set an alarm and you can take an action against that alarm using a function, using the OCI CLI to do a lot of different things. It has all the different database capabilities with the CLI. So you can write a script to do that. I know that's not necessarily exactly what you would like to see happen in some of these things. Also, there was a question with respect to the amount of process memory. Now that comes from the limits that would be set on the underlying Linux in the system. And typically with Autonomous, we do not allow that. But Olivia showed you that you do have the right to go in and set as administrator different functionalities in there. And as she said, there's a lot of documentation with that. My recommendation for that level is to work with your systems engineer of your sales team to get a more in-depth discussion. The other thing I wanted to show you is that you have the different tools with respect to the architecture center. It's not just the documentation, but we also have this architecture center. And we also have the live labs as noted. And then on YouTube, there's a lot of different tools that are available as well. So all that, those are all tools that you have access to and can work with. But don't be shy about, oh, the other thing I would point to is Ask Tom, or asktom.oracle.com, which is has a whole set of trainings with respect to database and a whole set of trainings I'll get it out, but videos that are available there. Some of them are short, some of them are long. So that's another source for getting better expertise. And as mentioned, this is an overview presentation, but if you need more, don't hesitate to contact your sales team, because we have a lot more training to offer you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks, Winnie and Olivia, for this great session. Really appreciate all the extra tidbits you shared along with the regular content. I hope everyone learned something new today. Our next session, regular session under this webinar series, will be on May 21st, where you will learn how logging analytics can empower your organization to enhance security, performance, and operational efficiency. You can find the details on our regular Devon and Beyond page. Feel free to send an email to us at personal-trainers_us@oracle.com if your questions were not answered today. And with that, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. See you all next time. Have a great day, everyone.